Did you miss me? Because I missed all of you. Let's break down the best merge episode of all time. These episode breakdowns usually come out Thursday afternoon, the day after the episode comes out, but there's a virus going around that I caught, making my voice sound really bad, and I always try to have the top tier best Survivor content for all of you. For everyone wondering where I went, don't worry, I'm back talking about Survivor. I know there's no one else on YouTube that covers Survivor, so you just needed this content. Big reason we're still doing this video, even though it's a couple days late, is there's another round of our Survivor buff giveaway. Like always, if you want to enter, subscribe to the channel, like the video, and comment down below who you think has all-star potential. Let's get right into it with number 32, the previously on Survivor segment. You know it's going to be a complicated episode of Survivor with everything coming to its head when we need a previously on Survivor segment in the episode. They gotta play dumb and make sure all the casual fans understand what's going on, because not everyone goes as in-depth at Survivor as you and me do. Obviously, our three players with the amulets are Drea, Lindsay, and Hai. Thanks to Shipwheel Island, Marianne and Drea have an extra vote and Omar lost his vote. And finally, the Beware advantages were given to Drea, Marianne, and Mike. Number 31, Vati after Tribal. The big plot line during the pre-merge this season was Daniel versus Chanelle, and that comes right to an end last episode. Chanelle ended up winning the battle, but I think she's eventually gonna lose the war, as we can talk about later in the episode. She's pretty screwed. And that starts right here as she decides to vote for Mike at Tribal Council, even though Daniel went home. We talked about in last week's breakdown how it made sense why Chanelle voted for Mike. Technically, it's the right move if Daniel plays the shot in the dark and protects himself, but it leaves Chanelle in a really bad spot with her tribe not trusting her going into a merge. Number 30, Rox versus Tori. Over on the Ika camp, the blue camp, we see Tori and Rockstroy talking about the Shipwheel Island. This is going to be important much later in the episode, but Rockstroy and Tori do not get along at all. This is Survivor 42, this is messy Survivor, and ultimately I think both players don't come off good here. Rockstroy should be telling his tribe, or at least his alliance, what went on at Shipwheel Island, but he decides to keep it a secret even though other players have already been there. And Tori's acting way too paranoid, almost interrogating Rockstroy about what went on, once again highlighting that Vati's in shambles with Chanelle and Ika's in shambles with Tori. Number 29, Jeff breaking the fourth wall. There's some fourth wall breaking that needs to go on with how complex Survivor 41 and Survivor 42 are, but I think it comes off much better in Survivor 42 as they're minimizing how much fourth wall breaking's going on. First thing I thought of when Jeff mentioned AppleBee's is this is literally like a YouTube sponsored ad post. Like, can you imagine halfway through this video I stop and say,
now a word from our sponsors.
Hey, there's currently a problem. This guy's bigger than me in the Survivor YouTube community. There's only enough room for one Russell, so subscribe to the channel, make that number change. You can win a buff and change my life.
And now back to your regularly scheduled program.
It completely felt like a sponsored bit for me, as now AppleBee's is the main difference maker between 41 and 42. The three big changes here from 41 and 42 is AppleBee's is now the reward, Jeff tells the players a game-changing twist, and the winning tribe is allowed to switch with the loser about who goes to Exile Island. Number 28, Mergatory. We saw in the preview, so I'm gonna keep it brief. Mike asks, is this the merge? And then Jeff responds, kind of. It ends up being the exact same super physical challenge, the only difference being the puzzle at the end. Shout out to Karishma for still having the best AppleBee's applause of all time. And Jeff tells the players the winner of the challenge gets their merge buff. They get AppleBee's and they're safe at the next tribal council. Number 27, Hourglass Challenge. The blue tribe consists of Romeo, Drea, Mike, Omar, and Chanelle, and the orange tribe consists of Lydia, Jonathan, Marianne, Hai, and Tori, where the gray rocks were drawn for Lindsay and Rockstroy. Ultimately, the blue tribe did not stand a chance here, as really whatever tribe got Jonathan was gonna win. I felt so bad for Drea trying to climb up the ball, and I liked how they built up a little bit of drama about Jonathan and Marianne during the puzzle. Ultimately, orange wins as number 26, Exile Decision. The only difference between 41 and 42 is Jeff tells them the player that goes to Exile will be making a game-changing twist. I guess this is a little bit better than 41, but I still don't like this twist at all, and I'm happy we're never going to be seeing it again. It makes sense why they sent Rockstroy, but I'm really interested what would have happened if they sent Lindsay instead, because I don't know if Lindsay would have smashed it. Yes, it makes sense because you immune yourself right away, but one of Lindsay's biggest allies in the game is Jonathan, so if she doesn't smash it, she keeps Jonathan safe. Number 25, AppleBee's Reward. The merge buff looks awesome. awesome. I'm looking forward to giving them away. Really, the only key takeaway from this is Tori mentions how this is best case scenario for her at the moment. As she was on the bottom of her tribe, she's flipping right away. Rockstroy went to Exile Island and she's safe. And I just gotta say, there's no way Jonathan's average meal is 18 eggs. Number 24, the losers. Either Drea is one of the smartest players in Survivor history, or the producers told the players a little more than what was shown on TV. As somehow, someway, Drea is able to predict that Rockstroy might have the power to switch who's safe and who's not safe at the next tribal council. Number 23, Drea and Mike. We knew going into the merge we were going to get interactions between the Beware Idol people, as without any swaps happening in the season, you need any form of connection to form those bonds and form those alliances. As Drea says she has Romeo and Rockstroy and not to trust Tori at all, and Mike says he has Hai and Lydia and not to trust Chanelle at all. Number 22, Rox on Exile. I absolutely hate the first shot we see of Rockstroy coming up to Exile Island is the Hourglass just sitting there in that corner as he pulls up the boat. I've been pretty down on Rockstroy for most of the season, but I love him during this scene. He's having fun out there. He was cast on the wrong show. He should be on Beyond the Edge, surviving the elements, as he's having a great time building the shelter, making fun of his wife and kids, and we even get some backstory on why he has those really cool glasses. I need to remember it's good to have a player like Rockstroy on your season so you're not filled with full game bots. Number 21, the group comes together. This is New School Survivor. This is season 42. Things are gonna be moving really quick once you hit the merge. I'm trying not to rant about these twists as much as possible, but we didn't need the Hourglass to make this episode interesting. Going into the merge, it's 4 players on every tribe, making that dynamic so interesting. Number 20, Amulet Trio. I don't know if we needed the flashback of Hai, Drea, and Lindsay finding the amulet advantages and having the previously on Survivor segment at the start of the episode. If there's 3 in the game, it's an extra vote. If there's 2 in the game, it's a steal vote. And if there's only 1 left in the game, it's an immunity idol. I have nothing bad to say about the amulet, and I actually really like it and hope they keep it for future seasons of Survivor. It forces these players to build bonds and alliances almost out of necessity and fear. Because if they're not working together, then you know one of the people is gonna turn on you to make the amulet more powerful. Number 19, the Idol Trio. Our Beware advantages, we have Mike, we have Marianne, and we have Drea. I love how Marianne's actively playing the game and playing hard and not just sitting back and being a passive player, but she might be doing this too soon as a lot of players are surprised that she's actively playing the game. I like her quote about Jonathan saying a problem later in the game just turns into a future shield. Number 18, Mike and Jonathan. Only in New School Survivor, drop the 4, keep the 2, can the underdog be the biggest players in the game, as Mike and Jonathan share a really good bromance moment of always being misunderstood. I don't realistically think Jonathan can win the game as he's just way too big of a threat, but I would love a Mike win. You never know, the big dummies versus the little brains, a big dummy could end up on top. Number 17, the Jonathan Show. Not much to talk about here, everyone's just super impressed with how Jonathan's playing Survivor, and for all the old school fans who complain about all the strategy going on and not much camp life, yay, we're getting camp life this episode. Number 16, Hai and Romeo. Just like how Mike and Jonathan share a really good moment here, Hai and Romeo share an awesome moment as well. Romeo wishes he could be more open like Hai is. Moments like Jonathan fishing, Mike and Jonathan together, Romeo and Hai together, this is awesome old school camp life Survivor moments, and I think if we just had a 1-hour episode here, these scenes get cut. Survivor, give us more 2-hour episodes. Number 15, Omar lost his vote. Omar finds out he lost his vote, but it's not Chanelle that ends up telling him, it's Hai. This is stupid on Chanelle's part because Omar was gonna find out eventually. Why lie about this? It currently puts Omar in a really bad spot as he's up for elimination and doesn't have his vote, but we know everything's gonna be flipped around eventually. Number 14, Omar and Mike. Again, more personal connections are formed as Omar and Mike talk about their relationships at home. 2 people that would have never met outside of Survivor, these interactions are always cool to see. And we just gotta give a round of applause for Mike. He's never gonna play the most strategic Survivor game in the world, but he's probably the street smartest player out here and he's playing a fantastic game. Number 13, Power Alliance. You got Jonathan, Lindsay, and Omar, Hai, Lydia, and Mike, and Drea, Romeo, and Rockstroy. This works out almost perfectly as there's 1 target on every single original tribe. You have Chanelle, you have Tori, and you have Marianne. But I also don't believe for a second that the Taku members are willing to get rid of Marianne here. They're just trying to lower the threat level of how close Taku really is together. There's so much going on here, but they're able to break it down as either Chanelle or Tori is gonna be the one to go. We got Tori who's currently safe and Chanelle who's currently not safe. But Hai says if the twist is everything gets switched around, Then Chanelle becomes safe and Tori can go home. I'm telling you, this is either the smartest cast in Survivor history or the producers told them what's going on. We also get Omar telling this power group of players together that he lost his vote and won't be able to vote at Tribal Council, but it's all good because Drea tells them all she has an extra vote and she will use it if need be. This scene right here is New School Survivor at its core, as so many different things is going on. Number 12, awkward for Chanelle. This gave me a lot of Nick vibes from Winners at War, because as soon as Chanelle would walk into a conversation, people would just freeze and walk away. Something like this is bad if it happens once, but it literally happened multiple times for Chanelle. Highlighting both Chanelle and Tori are on the bottom here, and it kind of makes sense when you see the votes that happen later. Number 11, Rox and Jeff. We are now 1 hour and 10 minutes into the episode, and if you remember, during Survivor 41, this happened at the end of the first episode, meaning this episode would have been edited so much differently if it wasn't a full 2-hour block. It's hilarious. Jeff wants to talk strategy, talk about the hourglass twist, but all Rockstroy is worried about is the rice getting burned. I think the hourglass twist would be so much more interesting if Rockstroy was immune no matter what. Then he can single-handedly choose what players in the game he wants to keep safe and not. Ultimately, there's no decision here. If you can choose to make yourself safe, you're gonna do that, especially going into a merge. Number 10, Hourglass Decision. Not really a decision, you're gonna smash that hourglass no matter what, but once again, why are we smashing the hourglass instead of just flipping it over? Tori gets confrontational here, that's really not a good look for her. And Jeff makes sure to tell the players the person getting voted out the next Tribal Council is not gonna make the jury. Number 9, Immunity Challenge. First off, round of applause, that snake necklace looks super cool. Jonathan ends up flopping the Immunity Challenge, and I must say, I don't know if Jonathan will be good at a lot of these challenges. This was a do or die situation for Tori, because if she didn't win, she was going home. I don't want to be the guy to say it, but she kinda cheated twice. Image right here shows her block floating in the air, and image right here shows her eye upside down. I don't know, you be the judge. Number 8, Day 14, The Merge. It's hilarious that Rockstroy would rather be on Exile Island than deal with this crazy merge situation. The 5 people in trouble is Jonathan, Marianne, Lindsay, Hai, and Lydia. My first thought's 100% Jonathan's screwed here, as Hai has already gone for rocks for Lydia, so there's no way they're gonna turn on each other. Number 7, Romeo wants power. I really like Romeo's approach here because earlier in the episode he was on the chopping block, so he wanted to take a step back. But now that he's safe, he's power hungry and he wants to make a big move and get in the driver's seat. 100% Romeo is one of the big villains of the season, and he's trying to target Jonathan here. Number 6, Lindsay protecting Jonathan. A lot of these players are doing textbook Survivor and playing really smart. Lydia recognizes she's not a physical player, so she wants to get those physical threats out of the game. So she goes to Lindsay and says, let's target Jonathan, let's get him out of the game. Lindsay goes to bat for her ally really well here, as she brings up so many good points saying, well, Jonathan brings us all the food, and he's really bad at puzzles. Number 5, Omar the GOAT. I don't mean GOAT in the sense of a Survivor player dragged to the end. I'm talking GOAT as the greatest of all time. His original plan is, Omar, just shut up, you have no vote, you're safe, just chill out. Omar knows it's a long way to get to the very end of the game, and he needs as much tools as he can to get there. He's been building a relationship with Marianne since day 1. Marianne has an extra vote, Marianne has an idol, and at the same time, Jonathan is one of the biggest shields you can have in Survivor. Somehow, some way, Omar flips the vote and protects Jonathan and protects Marianne without even having his vote. Number 4, Omar and Lydia. Lydia's torn between voting out Jonathan and voting out Marianne. Omar takes that comment and completely runs with it. Ultimately, Omar's the MVP of the episode and in my opinion, a top contender to win. Number 3, Hai panics. I get the sense this was too little, too late in the day as they were going to Tribal Council soon. Hai has already gone to rocks for Lydia. He wants to keep his closest allies safe, and he recognizes that Jonathan is the biggest threat in the game. Everyone wants Jonathan as a meat shield, so he's gonna try his best to throw some votes on Marianne. Number 2, Tribal Council. This power alliance is so complicated and there's no way they're gonna make it to the end of the game together. But I love how in this season, Survivor 42, everyone has someone to root for and everyone has someone to root against. I don't know if it's the editing of the season or if it's the cast of the season, but Survivor 42, Survivor 41. And 100%, we need to get rid of those personal backstories at Tribal Council, as it just gives way too much away on who will be going home. Number 1, Lydia voted out. In a crazy 6-2-2-1 vote out, Lydia goes home. Chanelle and Tori are obviously on the bottom. I have no idea what Rockstro was thinking here. Lydia gets screwed over by the Hourglass twist, and no matter what, someone was gonna get screwed over by this Hourglass twist, and that's why I think Lydia got purpled this season. She didn't get fully purpled, she got some confessionals, but she definitely could have had more of a personality. Just check out her Twitter. But the producers wanted to make this Hourglass vote out be as less painful as possible. Congratulations to Mary Kate, you're this week's buff giveaway winner. Please private message me on Discord or Instagram so I can get your contact details. I'll announce a new winner next week during our episode breakdown, and click right here for the rise and fall of Ozzy.